Okay, this is your homework sheet on Vertex form. You can go in and look at it, print it off, or look at it in assignments. And we're going to be using these two things over and over again. Vertex form is y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. Let me write a little bit neater. So we're going to be using this over and over again. Y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. And to find our vertex, which is hk, we're going to be using negative b over 2a over and over again. Alright, now on this one we might want to start off identifying a, b, and c. If it's in standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c. A is 1, b is 16, and c is 71. So I'm going to say negative b over 2a. Negative b over 2a is understood to be 1. That gives me negative 16 over 2, which gives me negative 8. And that's the front of your vertex. To find the back of your vertex through y, you go y equals x squared plus 16x plus 71. So negative 8 goes in the parentheses everywhere there was an x. Okay, now I've already done that on my calculator. I used parentheses and put in negative 8 squared plus 16 times negative 8 plus 71. And I got 7. So all of this equals 7. That's the back of my vertex, and I used that to write my equation. My equation, go back to this after you've done this. So you say y is equal to a, right now is understood to be 1, times x minus h, x minus negative 8 squared plus k, which is 7. So you say x minus this number, x minus h, and then plus k. Now I think I already have them in Desmos, where I have this answer, y equals 1 times x plus 8 squared plus 7, along with the one I started with, and we should see the same equation. So same equation. Standard form and vertex form. Alright, back to our whiteboard number 2. Let's identify a, b, and c. So a is negative 1, b is negative 14, and c is negative 59. Start here. So I'm going to say negative b over 2a. Negative b, which is negative 14, over 2a, which is negative 1. Negative 14 gives me 14 over negative 2, so I get negative 7 for the front of my vertex. Now fill it back in carefully. Negative x squared minus 14x minus 59. I'm going to fill in negative 7 carefully, and I think I already have that one in my calculator also. So I have, you can see it here, negative of negative 7 squared minus 14 times negative 7 minus 59, and that gave me negative 10. Of course, you could also, should be able to do this by hand. It gives me negative 10. Then you go back to this, y equals a, negative 1, times x minus h, x minus negative 7, so x plus 7 squared, plus k. So plus negative 10 or minus 10. So this is y equals negative 1 times x plus 7 squared minus 10. I haven't put them in Desmos, but let's do it. So if I put those in Desmos, I have y equals negative x squared. Let's see, I'll use the keyboard here. Negative x squared minus 14x minus 49. Negative x squared minus 14x minus 59 is what we started with. And our new equation that we got was a times x plus 7. So negative 1 times x plus 7 squared plus negative 10 or minus 10. And same graph. One's in standard. Well, that one's not quite in standard. I would have to get rid of all the negatives, but one's sort of in standard form and one's in vertex form. Alright, I'm going to leave you number 5 to do, and I'm going to leave you number 7 to do, and now I'm going to go, I think I have, let's go back, see if I can move this slide over. I don't know if I'll be able to or not, so you can see it. Let's see. You can kind of see it over there in the gray part. Alright, I'm going to do number 4. Alright, number 4, right here, okay. A is 2, B is 36, and C is 170. So this can get kind of big. I'm going to say negative B over 2A, and when I get finished, I'm going to fill everything into y equals A times x minus h squared plus k, vertex form. Alright, so I'm going to say negative B over 2A. Negative B, which is 36, over 2A, A is 2. That gives me negative 36 over 4, gives me negative 9. That's the front of my vertex. Now I've got to fill it into 2x squared plus 36x plus 170. So I'm going to fill in negative 9 and negative 9. And let's do it on the calculator. So those are pretty big numbers. Alright, so let's move this over here where you can see it. I'm saying 2 times, use this negative 9, close your parentheses, squared, plus, right here, 36 times negative 9, and then plus 170. So I'm just filling it back in, and I get 8. Alright, so now I'm ready for my formula. Y equals A, which is 2, times x minus h, x minus negative 9 squared, plus 8. And so if I put both of those in Desmos, it ought to be, or in my calculator, it ought to be the same thing. So my number 4 was in standard form, was 2x squared plus 36x, plus 36x plus 170, and my vertex form was A, which was 2, times x minus negative 9, or plus 9, minus negative 9 is plus 9 squared, and then I had plus 8, which you could be typing into your y equals and see if you get the same equation also. So same equation. Alright, so number 6, let's be careful on number 6. You have ax squared plus bx plus c. A is 1, b is 4, and c is 0. You just don't have one. And so you'll be doing number 6. To do number 8, I'm going to first have to convert it from, this is called factored form. I'm going to have to get it into standard form. So number 8 right here. Let's see if I can move it up a bit. Let's see. Sorry. Just a minute. Hope I don't lose it all. Alright, so number 8. Alright, on number 8, I need it in standard form first. So I'm going to do FOIL. So I have y is equal to x squared plus 4x plus 5x is plus 9x plus 20. So now I know A is 1, understood to be 1, B is 9, and C is 20. I'm going to do negative B over 2A every time. Negative B over 2A from standard form. That gives me negative 9 halves. So this is going to be kind of ugly. Negative 9 halves. So let's get the second part of our point. So it's no big surprise at some point I would get a fraction. So I'm going to go fill it in here, or you could actually fill it in here. It doesn't matter. So I'm going to have y equals x squared plus 9x plus 20 and I'm going to fill in -9/2 and see what I get. Okay, so I have -9/2 squared plus 9 times -9/2 plus 20. And that gives me -0.25, which is -1/4. You could get it as a fraction, math fraction. So I get -1/4. This is my HK, my vertex. So I'm going to keep going back to y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. So y is equal to a, which is understood to be 1, ax squared plus bx plus c. Y equals a times x minus -9/2, so that's x minus a negative is plus k, which is -1/4 or -1/4. All right, so let's put it in oh, I'm sorry, you couldn't see that. Let me go back over that again. All right, so when we filled in -9/2, we got -1/4. And so I wrote that right here as my vertex, -9/2, -1/4. And I keep going back to this form. So I had y is equal to a, which right now is 1, times x minus a -9/2 squared plus k, which is -1/4. And so here's my answer. All right, in Desmos, I'm going to put in my original, which is x plus 5, x plus 5, x plus 4, which is what was on the paper in factored form, x plus 5, and then x plus 4. So I foiled it out to get it in standard form so that I could then go to a vertex form. My vertex form was 1 times x minus negative, so plus 9/2 squared and then plus -1/4 or just -1/4. And we should have the same parabola, blue and green, blue and green. All right, now, so on this one, before I do number 10, number 10 is the last one on this page that I'm going to do, and then I'll leave you some to do, or I'll get the number 10 set up. You've got to get it in standard form first. So I'm going to subtract all of these to the other side, so that y is equal to, so I'm going to subtract -6x squared from both sides. I'm going to subtract 12x from both sides, and I'm going to subtract 13. So I have y is equal to -6x squared minus 12x minus 13. A is -6, B is -12, and C is -13. So the next thing you'll do when you're doing number 10 is say -b over 2a, -b over 2a, to get the front of your vertex. Once you get the front, fill it in here to get the back. That'll give you your HK. Then you'll say y is equal to a, which in this case is -6, times x minus h squared plus k. All right, so what you do every time is first you want to get it into standard form, which is y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c if it's not already. Identify a, b, and c and say -b over 2a. That'll give you the front of your vertex, which right now I'm just going to call h. To find the back of your vertex, whatever this number is, you fill it in to find k. Then you say y equals excuse me, a, same a is up here, times x minus whatever h is, plus k. And then you can check them in Desmos or on your graphing calculator to see if you got it right. All right, now let's go to another page. These should go pretty fast. Alright, so these are in vertex form. Just a minute, I'm trying to get it to where you can see it better. Let me blow it up. Okay. I may have gotten it too big. Just a minute. I will just do number 17 because you can see it. Alright, so on number 17, what we would do, so this is your example on number 17, is we would just look at this as already in vertex form. So my vertex form is y is equal to a times x minus h squared plus k. Y equals a times x minus h squared plus k. I can already tell what makes this 0 is -4, so my vertex is -4, and this part just stays +3. So this x minus h tells you to change the sign of h, but you keep this +3. So this also means from your parent graph of x squared, that you move it back 4 and up 3. So it's right here is my vertex. It's positive, so I know it's going up, and now I need to get the shape, so I just find one more point. And so I'm just going to fill in 0 for x to find one more point. So I'm going to say y is equal to 1/4 times x, which is 0 plus 4 squared plus 3. So I get 1/4 of 16 plus 3. 4 goes into 16 4 times. So I get 4 plus 3 is 7. So my y-intercept is 0, 7. This is my vertex. This is my axis of symmetry right here. And so whatever happens over here is also going to happen over here. And so that's number 17. Alright, it says identify the vertex and the axis of symmetry and then sketch the graph. Alright, so the vertex is -4, 3. The axis of symmetry is x equals -4, and then draw the graph. So let's do this one. Same. So let me see if I can get to number 19 where you can see it. Alright, hopefully you can see it a little bit better. I don't think it's on this page. Let me see. Okay. Alright, so let me see if I can do this and get a better view of it. Alright, this is better. So this is number 19. So another example of this. Alright, so our job here is to identify the vertex and draw a graph and the axis of symmetry. Okay, my vertex is x minus h, so that should be, what makes this 0 is -5, and then you leave this alone, -3. So my vertex is back 5, down 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. I know this one's going down, but I'm going to find exactly how wide or skinny it is by finding the y-intercept. So I'm going to fill in 0 for x. So I have -2 times 0 plus 5 squared minus 3. So I have -2 times 25 minus 3. So I have -50 minus 3. Oh, so my y-intercept is -53, which I can't graph right here. Oh, sorry, you couldn't see that slide. It's okay, I'll start over anyway. Let's see. Oh, there it is. It wasn't following me. Okay, you'll be able to see it better here. Yeah, okay, sorry. Alright, so your vertex is x plus 5 would give you, change your sign to -5, what makes that 0, and then keep this sign down 3. If it's in vertex form, you can just call h the opposite of this, which is -5, and k is -3. So it's just like what you've been doing for a parabola. Slide it back 5, down 3. And that's automatically your axis of symmetry. Your axis of symmetry is x equals -5. Alright, now I found my y-intercept on the other slide, but you couldn't see what I was doing. But when I filled in 0, I think I got -53, which what I was saying when I realized you couldn't see what I was doing is I can't graph 0, -53 in here. So I'm going to find another point because that one was just not very convenient. If you are having trouble finding a point, stick close to your vertex. So let's fill in something like -4, really close to -5. So I'm going to have -2, I'm going to have -4 plus 5 squared minus 3. -2, this gives me 1 squared, which is 1, minus 3. So I get -2 minus 3, so I get -5. Let's remind ourselves what we filled in. I filled in -4, and I got -5. So it's stretching way down here like this. Okay, so over here on number 20, you would find your vertex, axis of symmetry. So find your vertex is -5, -3, to review this one. Axis of symmetry is x equals -5. And then just find one other point by filling in another value. If 0 doesn't work, just pick a number closer to your vertex. And that's how you do your homework. So check assignments and see which numbers I want you to do from the work.